So for today's movie review, I'll be reviewing Gandahar, or Light Years. Is a 1988 French animated film based upon the novel The Machine Men vs. Gandahar. However, the version that I ended up watching is the Americanized version, Light Years, named after the original film's tagline. And rumor has it that the people who Americanized this movie also got the help of the physicist Isaac, whatever the fuck his last name is, as in that Isaac, to translate a lot of the movie. And this movie has a very interesting voice cast, because the actors that they got for the Americanized release of the film range from Glenn Close, Jennifer Grey, Christopher Plummer, but those aren't the reasons why I'm watching this movie. The main reason why I decided to review this movie was because when I was 6 or 7, I remember going to the local video store and I happened to stumble upon this VHS of this movie, and I just wanted to watch it because the VHS cover of this looked so weird that I wanted to watch it. However, I was robbed of my opportunity to watch it because I think my mom knew better at the time. And, as time went on, I definitely had that image in my head, but I don't remember what the name of the movie was until I was browsing through International Movie Database looking up weird animated films, where I happened to see that exact VHS cover, and, well, yeah, here I am reviewing the movie. So, was this a movie that I should have watched back in the day? As for the plot of the movie, it's about this young prince who gets sent on this mission to figure out the sudden appearance of an army of mechanical men, and along the way, he meets this weird cast of characters, and he must figure out a way to get rid of the army of mechanical men. In terms of what I like the movie, I like the overall surreal tone of the film, from its interesting color choices to the overall character designs, along with the landscapes, especially the landscapes, because they're really cool to look at. If you were to take a screenshot of the landscapes in this movie, I believe that it would pass as a piece of artwork that's worthy of being like an art museum of some sort. And also the movie dives into the themes of nature versus technology, and the other theme of the movie is totalitarianism. And in my opinion, I think this movie inspired the whole Phantom Menace defeat. The plot device of when you take out the thing controlling an army, you basically take out the army. In my opinion, this is where I believe it started it from, because that's essentially how they defeat the metal men in this movie. And also, a general highlight for me is this army of giant stone crabs battling the metal men army. It may not be drawn elegantly, but the idea of it, having this army of crustaceans battling machines, is just fun. In terms of what I disliked about the movie, I found the animation to be off from time to time because I never really felt that the characters belonged in this environment in the sense of the way they were animated. And the voice acting to the characters in the movie, I wasn't too impressed by, because it feels like the actors playing the characters in the movie sounded like they didn't really give good performances. They sounded really bored and bland. And also the lip movements to the characters are a bit off. Granted, I do realize that this is a French animated movie, so maybe the lip movements are more natural in its native language instead of the Americanized version that I watched, but still I found it to be a bit off in terms of the way they were animated. And also the soundtrack and the sound effects in the first half of the movie I found to be a bit overpowering over the dialogue, because when the soundtrack and the sound effects are being played, I could barely hear the dialogue. Granted, they do get better as the film progresses, but I still found them to be a bit overpowering from time to time. And apparently rumor has it that in the Americanized release, they actually got rid of the old soundtrack and created a new one for the film to make it more whimsical and epic. So I have no idea what the original soundtrack to the French film sounds like. And the origin to the Metal Man are very, how can I put this, generic. Because, tell me if you've heard this before. The origin to the Metal Men are, they grab a bunch of natives, like the Gandaharians, bring them to a location, and they get turned into machines. Long story short, the Metal Men in this movie are basically Cybermen. So, in terms of their origin, it's pretty unoriginal. And the thing that doesn't make sense about the Metal Men is the way they function, because when you see the main characters investigating the parts of a metal man, they discover that the metal men themselves are hollow on the inside, which on one hand I think is clever commentary in terms of, there is no soul in this empty shell, but it made me question in terms of how these robots functioned without mechanical parts or gears. And during the last third of the movie, a lot of major characters just disappear. Like the main love interest, because she's a major character for the first 2/3 of the film, and in the last third of the film, you never ever see her again. And also, there's just some scenes that just kind of occur and then just aren't mentioned again. Case in point, the main characters get captured by the Metalmen, and they get shoved into like this prison structure that happens to look like a giant egg. Then moments later, this giant gray alien dinosaur thing appears, destroys the Metalmen, and essentially unintentionally saves the two main characters because it mistakes the prison structure for one of its own eggs and treats the main characters like its own offspring, and just disappears. That creature in that moment is never talked about or seen again for the rest of the movie. So for my final verdict of Light Years, this is a fucking weird movie. Like, it's so fucking weird that I recommend watching it because the overall visual aesthetics are really memorable, and the film has some really interesting concepts. Granted, I don't think everybody will be on board for this film because they might think it's a bit too weird or find the concepts to be pretentious. But the way I see it, if you're a huge fan of animated movies, definitely check out Light Years along with Gandahar, because I think Light Years in general is a really underrated movie. And before I give my final rating, what did everyone else have to say about Light Years or Gandahar? So it looks like a lot of people liked this movie. And so for my final rating of Light Years or Gandahar, I give it 3.5 out of 5. So what is your favorite French animated movie? And see you later.